ladies and gentlemen. It's our final game of the night. We got another game going on in the losers bracket, but up top, we have decided our upper bracket champions, and we've decided who is going to be going into CCL. But we have one more match, one more spot, two actually, to confirm. CalAv versus Outlast is going on behind the scenes, but we got SYR Esports versus a possible comeback here from Fork. We saw them lose to Quadratics in the last game. And it was unfortunate as we saw one of those teams drop down, but Fork has their redemption. I'm Jasmine. This is Loaf. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, no, we're going to go ahead and get right into the map bans as well. First one going out is Coastline, followed by Bank, Villa, Chalet, Clubhouse, and Oregon. That leaves our best of one map today. The final map that we will be broadcasting tonight is Cafe. Seeing a lot of classic maps here tonight, if I do say so myself. I mean, I'm pretty sure the only one not from like Day Zero Siege is Chalet.
I think even Chalet, way back.
Wait, no. Chalet was Day Zero because it was it Yacht that came with Frost and Buck.
Yeah. Chalet's the only map
Chalet
that isn't. I think it's Villa and Coast. Those are the only two that aren't day ones on this map pool.
Yeah, actually, that is correct. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how Cafe is gonna play out. There hasn't been much changes to it since I've last casted it, but I'm not sure quite how if the meta has shifted any or if it's still just it's very, very reliant on defender strategy, which from what we've seen from Fork doesn't really exist a whole lot. I mean, they're a pub stack, as we've discussed before. They rely pretty heavily on aggression. They're also typically teams that they falter under pressure a lot. So we'll see if they'll be able to pull together some defending strategy, potentially, give themselves one last final chance to get into CCL. And we haven't really seen anything from SYR though. I'm curious. They were beat out by Agony Esports that ended up or actually no. They were beat out by Catlaugh. That was then beat out by Agony Esports. And I believe Orglis forfeit, so they were able to move up to this next slot in the bracket. So we don't really have that much of a gauge really to see how well they're going to play. They did get 7-0'd by Catlaugh, however, to start. So yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see how this match is going to go, because while we have seen a round from Fork, we haven't really seen anything from SYR. But let's go ahead and take a look as to the players we're seeing on these teams.
Naj, Hipper, Swifted, Gods, and Adam. And on Fork, we met them before. Tabyface, Barry, Danny Spicy, Rika, and Zane, who I believe is being subbed out. And I think it's Big Art that was playing last time. I'm not sure if that's going to stay. It is actually Tabyface. I'm not mispronouncing that. I want to call it Tableface, but it is Tabyface. Yep. And if you do want an update, Tara has just texted me, and she is currently up 4-1 against Outlast Academy. I actually think that Lioness is literally playing against her boyfriend, so that would be very funny.
It's pretty funny.
But yeah, we got two rosters here. Obviously, one of them we haven't met before. We're gonna have to see how they're gonna play, but how Fork have played. Very sloppy, Loaf. We got to admit here. Very sloppy on the attack. It was something that we really wanted to harp on. But on the defense, they made sense of the chaos. It was 3-3 last time in their Clubhouse. But that inconsistency on attack, especially on Cafe, where your attacks have to be top-notch, could come back to bite them.
Yeah. I don't know. SYR right now is just such an unknown for me. It's very difficult to make predictions or try to gauge how this map is going to go, because all we really have is score lines, and those are not always the best indicator to go off of in terms of a team's skill. So I'll reserve that till we get to see the op bans. Once again, Thatcher going to be coming out first. No surprises there. This is tier 3 Siege.
Yep, Thatcher. If you are confused, is the best attacker in the game at the moment. Well, one of.
Mm-hmm.
So just forgive and forget operator. You throw down your MPs and all your utilities all of a sudden gone, especially in a meta like this where it's not completely burn meta like it used to be, but there is a little bit of burning to be done. Flores is gone as well. We've been seeing this over and over again. Flores is a very powerful operator. Definitely something to be worried about, especially on Cafe. Mute is effective on both maps that we saw last time on Clubhouse and Cafe. So the Mute could also be brought in substitution, but I would say that Mute isn't as prevalent maybe on Cafe just because of how big the map is. You can't cover everything. Actually, I don't know. Mute's just good all around. But Nira as well. I mean, what I'd like to see here from Fork is they have defense, right? We gotta see some utility usage. We keep talking about the C4s. I haven't seen a nade net a kill in a very long time, except for the team kill, and I believe Big Art getting like an impactless frag on a top floor attack during the Clubhouse game. So I want to see those C4s being brought out a lot, especially because the operators that are banned, that utility, those nades, those flashes, they're going to be important, and Fork is going to have to match up to that.
Yeah, I definitely want to see some more utility usage out of them, as you said. I don't know. I'm stuck at a loss. Just again, there were a lot of there are so many unknowns with SYR, as well as a lot of shortfalls that we saw coming from Fork. I think I'm going to reserve my judgment for this game until we see this first round play out. Really and truly, I think I want to wait and to give any sort of deep analysis until I see this first round play out, because this is a map that I don't really have anything comparable to Clubhouse. It's not nearly as aggression heavy, and you know, I'm still trying to process. You know, SYR lost 7-0 to Catlaugh. There was not a single reprieve there. Again, don't want to rely too heavily on score lines to indicate, you know, the team skill, but that is a 7-0 is a pretty strong statement, if I do say so myself.
It was also the only game that they played, because I'm pretty sure Orglis forfeited. Now, I'm not sure if that's correct. I'm not sure about that entirely. That's what I was told, so I could be completely wrong. But if Orglis forfeited, the only experience that SYR has is getting smoked by that team. So,
yeah,
you know, it seems like their utility usage is pretty, you know, standard. No Hib and Ace instead this time around, but they've got 2 sets of nades. They've got enough burn. Adam does have a Claymore, which isn't too common nowadays, especially on Cafe where you just have Nomad. I mean, you know, but they got the secondary utility that they might need. It seems like on the side of Fork, a C4 is going to be ripped here by Danny Spicy, but unfortunately it comes to a waste. Should be pretty much no contesting on getting these hatches. What is interesting to see is that Barry is playing in Shaiko, and I'm not sure how long he's going to stay here or if he's going to rotate out.
Yeah, the biggest thing here I'm looking for is control of the stairwells. That is one of the big parts of this hold, is getting good control of both red and white stairs. And another one is piano, where we're going to see actually the first kill going to come out from Gods onto Danny Spicy, one of the more impactful players on the side of Fork from the last match.
Yeah, and Danny really didn't have any sort of contesting whatsoever. He kind of just was sitting in Cigar Shop and lost his life as a result of just, I guess, not realizing that, you know, maybe Cigar Shop isn't the safest place, especially if you don't have a castle barricade behind you. But at the same time, it's a lesson learned, and Danny also didn't even have a C4 on them, so, you know, not too bad. But SYR are stalling out at the moment, so they're going to have to make some sort of progress as they move on here to the minute 10 mark. You've also got to keep in mind, Babyface is underneath. They've got a C4 to play around with.
Yeah, no, definitely. But there is Naj as well, going to very quickly take out Barry. You know, maybe that 7-0 wasn't too indicative of how these guys really play so far.
Okay. Well, Art is making the most of his presence inside of Pixel. No shield or utility to his name. And Babyface, we mentioned the C4. It takes down Naj. 3 versus 3. And Babyface is cleared out by the air jab. Art will fall inside of Pixel. He wasn't long for, they weren't long for this world to begin with, as Manson, a new addition here to the Fork roster, I guess a substitute as well. FMG9 in hand,
actually
has long angles to play with, but it's a 3 versus 2.
I believe. Oh, who is that a sub for? They just subbed out for.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Rika. It was
that
Rika.
is Rika. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, they subbed out Rika for Man Sitting. I remember seeing him in chat throughout the last match, so I'm guessing Rika had to go subbing Man Sitting there, who's able to actually get a kill there. As we're talking about him with the smoke nade. The FMG9 doing good work there, taking out Adam. And now she's at the Swifted, but it doesn't matter. The newcomer to the roster, Man Sitting, 2 FMG9 kills, 1 smoke nade kill, doing fantastic on his first outing for Fork.
Not only doing fantastic, but also that attack from SYR or SYR. I literally DM'd the org on Twitter, but they're egoing me. So if I'm mispronouncing it, it's your fault. Anyway, SYR were just, I mean, they were in prime position, but there was one thing that I really had a question mark on that I was looking at the entire round. The sledge is downstairs for no good reason. Swifted is downstairs, and I guess he was pressuring over by Nubalk, but that gets you, or sorry, by Heaven, but that gets you about 1 kill. At that point, you have to rotate up. And unfortunately, Swifted wasn't able to get there in time. And it's going to be the demise of the team because just, I mean, Manson was just locking it down. He gets 2 kills there. And then the run up from White was easily predicted. It's a clutch there for Fork. It's a round as well. SYR have not won a round in this call so far. And unfortunately, it's 8 now.
I'm noticing so far, and I want to say this tentatively as well, that I'm seeing some parallels with the Outlast Quadratics game, where SYR seems to be at the very least an established team who have some strats, and they seem to be relying on them pretty heavily. They're able to get some decent control with it, get some frags on the board. But when it comes down to it, Fork has pure aggression and pure mechanical ability to fall back on when strategy doesn't work, where it seems like SYR is struggling with it. So those are the parallels I'm starting to notice between that first match that we saw, and you know, as we saw, the pure aggression won out. And we'll see if that may be the case again here with Fork, is the sheer aggression and mechanical skill just does not mesh with strategic play when there's not that mechanical skill to back it up as well.
I don't know how a lot of these aggressive plays are even going unpunished as well, Loaf. I mean, for example, Big Art just casually walks into Bake. Barry just casually upstairs. But regardless, SYR still have yet to get much presence at all. A big difference that you'll notice between a lot of established sort of puggy teams or just, you know, lower level teams is that it takes a while for these attackers to get in and get proper control. You know, for example, Gods was just inside of reception, but he wasn't applying any pressure because there's a player inside a code, there's a player inside a double. What is he gonna do? Swing with 2 nades and hard breach?
Yeah.
That's the issue right now. SYR are not really prioritizing their operators correctly. They're not really getting themselves in, but they will. But half of the round is already gone. You still have to get Gods into the site so he can map the wall, assuming that there is a jammer sitting atop the bakery wall. And here's a swing from Big Art. How does he get away with that? Gods is dead, and that's a Maverick down as well.
And there's Danny Spicy and Big Heart getting another kill. What I'm seeing here from SYR is stagnation. They know the gist of these setups, but they don't know how to really execute them well. And already it looks like the use of an Echo, that's the first time we've seen that, this string of matches, is going to go ahead and put Swifted into a dazed and confused state. To make the push there into prep. Tabyface going to go ahead and throw out a smoke nade. The shotgun, unfortunately, whiffing as Swifted gets 2 kills there with the 6P. LMG's faring incredibly well. A quad for Swifted. Almost an ace taken by Naj. SYR came back from the brink of defeat solely at the hands of that 6P41 in the hands of the Finka there. That is I mean, that's what we've been seeing from the aggressive teams is a failure in strategy followed up by just sheer skill compensating. And, if this is going to be the trend for SYR, then, we may see another evenly matched game. But I've yet to see that is going to be the way it goes, because they were stagnating before they had even lost a player, where it came before they weren't sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought. Jazz, you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's okay. My brain is also mush right now. After that game, I have a human brain soup going on. Like, if I slosh my head around, I'm pretty sure stuff will start leaking out. But I mean, honestly, you kind of hit the hammer, or hit the nail with the hammer right there. I mean, it's just like, why are you laughing at me? I get it, man. I'm so tired. It's just relentless and ruthless aggression fighting each other. So we are literally witnessing fighting fire with fire. Somehow it worked for SYR. They got swung and just turned it into a counter aggression. They punished Fork, which we haven't. I don't know. I think that Fork, a lot of the times they get aggressive. As soon as they make a slip up, it's so easy to catch up on. Like, if a player overextends, that player is usually dead within 10 to 15 seconds. That's kind of their weakness, and I think SYR are really eager to pick up on that. And I think that's what's going to win them rounds on attack, to be honest, because a lot of the times Fork just get these aggressive roams going on. I mean, the cocktail hold, 2 roamers downstairs. Kind of a bit much, especially for just a site like that where you can turtle. And Danny Spicy, how have they gone away with this? He's on to Naj, and he's trying to look for a second swing, however, hasn't come to him just yet! Danny Spicy feeling themselves right now, as it's a second kill. However, he's got a player going inside a bacon that's swifted to go down! No one's holding prep, and Danny's just allowed to be alive! Unfortunately, I don't think you can shoot through that shelf at the moment. No, you can, but I think it's a little too difficult. And it's a swing here from Tabyface. The aggression loaf is not being punished, as we continuously talk about.
This is what I was seeing. This is more on par with what I was seeing on round 1. I think round 2 feels like it was pretty much solely on the back of Swifted. I mean, really and truly, it was solely on the back of Swifted being able to get that quad kill. And right now, as you said, unpunished aggression constantly. Tabyface able to get 2 clean kills with the SMG-11, and then the 1 kill that SYR were able to get back, traded out very, very quickly. There seems to be not a lot of no answers really coming from SYR here.
Well, I talked about how SYR punished a lot of Fork's aggression, but that time around, that was the exact opposite. And again, I listen, I'm a person that hates repeating themselves, even though I do it a lot. But SYR just got so aggressive against Fork's aggression. Literally the analogy we described earlier, the fighting with fire, just happened. We saw Swifted on Finka just walked into bakery. Didn't worry about prep to try and get rid of Danny Spicy just swinging inside a smoke. That is not how you go about that. Yeah. You still have to watch out for that prep swing. You don't need to swing prep door in order to kill the Finka at that point. You just had to be inside of prep at the right time, and that's what happened. You can't account for maybe an aggressive swing to come out. Get with your players. If Swifted aggresses, you have to coordinate that.
I think that there's a balance that SYR is trying to find right now. I'm thinking back through the rounds. I'm really taking a look at what's been going on. I think SYR are trying to find a balance. We saw initially they took incredibly long. They really were bogged down a lot by their setup and by their clears. That they took a very, very long time to get onto the site. They were doing very well, though. However, they started getting kills. They started getting ones. It came down to, Man Sitting, the newcomer, getting a triple kill, and, really closing out the round for Fork. The second round then came through. They had no response for the aggression from Fork. The only time they did, Swifted just ran inside with a 6-speed. I mean, really and truly, they did have a response, but it was really only from one player. They took way too long to get in there. They had no real covers for the aggression, and they got lucky off of Swifted pushing in. That next time, again, they were trying to find that balance of aggression and methodical play. And they were still too methodical, but also at the same time not methodical enough, if that makes any sense. I mean, you mentioned as well, they were trying to make that push into bake, but they had no idea what was going on in prep. They had no cover going in prep. There's a balance that SYR's trying to find that I just don't think that they have, that they found yet at all. I think they have that potential, but they aren't quite there yet. As I've been on this long ramble here, we've had 2 kills come out, one in the favor of SYR, Adam onto Danny Spicy, and Gods has fallen as well, the Iana being taken out.
You lose a C4 for nades at Gon 6. I'd say pretty well on the side of the defenders, but at the same time, Adam will make up for it and he'll take down Barry. Locking it down and securing Domai. So a lot of utility gone there. The magnets maybe have already been placed. Heavy faces a lineup. Oh my god! Ooh. With the 1x! I mean, he had a yellow ping and all, but you can't discredit HPR. What a shot from them! 4 versus 2, and Fork are now backed against the wall. We saw last time, Big Art and Manson were able to go huge and win the round, but can they do it this time, especially because one person is locked down inside of New Balk. They're going to have to get aggressive, and they will, but HPR, the Punisher, takes down Big Art. It's just down to Manson in a 1 versus 3. Now 1 versus 2. He's got Case down and SMG-11 in hand. It's just Naj and Swifted. Naj is behind them, and he'll get traded. No, he won't. Swifted does shut down the hopes of Manson. Really close there. I was a believer, but unfortunately it's not enough. It's another round here for SYR. That's that aggression from Fork just getting challenged. And even then, HPR just hitting that absolutely unnecessary shot onto the player sitting inside of mining. That's enough to give you a round.
Absolutely. And I think that round was really differentiated by the fact that they were able to get opening frags before they really tried that aggression. They had some knowledge of where the defenders were. They had some knowledge of what they were getting into before they aggressed. That's what SYR needs to do consistently if they want to take this game away. Right now, it seems like they're feeling it out a little bit. They're really kind of evolving, kind of the same way that we saw earlier on Quadratic. They really took their time. They came into their own as we saw them go through their match with Outlast Academy and as well with their match with Fork. So I'm interested to see how SYR continues to evolve over the rest of this match, and well, rather not how they evolve, but if they continue to evolve.
I think that they have their head in the right place. Like, they understand what they need to do, but the problem is that a lot of these players on SYR, I feel like, have a lack of communication. I feel like a lot of the times, for example, I keep harping back on that bake round. It could have been a fluke, absolutely, but it seems like a lot of the times that Fork are able to get opening kills or just secure frags in general, it's just a miscall. It's a misplay. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to a lot of these peaks. And no one's able to follow up on the side of SYR. And on attacks, you absolutely need refrags. Absolutely. At any chance you can get, the worst case scenario should be refrags ideally. Unfortunately, we just haven't been seeing that. SYR, that time around, however, just punished Fork for their aggression. And Fork have been having a hard time on this site, especially whenever their their second floor underneath presence gets shut down. Tavyface sitting under this red window. They're about to learn why you don't peek in LMGs. There's a swing and a miss, as it's a trade.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a solid crossfire there. They knew exactly what they were waiting for. Really good play by SYR. I mean, they were there to punish the aggression. This is exactly what they need to do. They're doing things right. They continue down this path. I think they have a very solid chance against Fork here. 4v4, Gods trying to make some inroads here, trying to take care of Art, trying to at least get some pressure off of them so they can establish a little bit more control. But it looks like we've got the run in here from Gods is going to go ahead and push towards Library. It looks like a reading, my mistake. aren't getting droned out here is going to swing, and Swifted is just there and ready. Once again, punishing the aggression here from Fork. They're doing a great job of really adapting to what they've seen. This is a really, really solid time that I'm seeing here from SYR. They looked completely lost during those first couple of rounds. They're really starting to come into it now, and again, I think if they continue down this path, they've got a really solid chance.
What I'm looking at right now, though, is that Gods is still underneath, and he's not applying too much pressure right now. I would say definitely not helping the swing there from Heaven, so that's something, but he's got to make his way upstairs. It's another kill, however, on the side of SYR, so the attack is working well. Manson still has pixel control. And there's one thing you have to keep in mind. Well, he had, but Gods, I talked about him needing to get upstairs. He does so. Barry, C4 not landing, and SYR, the most dominant round that they have taken this entire qual.
It's starting to seem like they might have Fork's number, and Fork really needs to start stepping up here a little bit, not relying so heavily on that pure aggression if they want to start taking rounds. And another quick bracket update for you. We have our third qualified team of the night. Catlaugh has beat out Outlast 7-1. They have absolutely put them in the dirt. I believe Catlaugh has either 7-0'd or 7-1'd just about every team they play. Actually, no, I stand corrected. Agony beat Catlaugh 7-5. They actually took them to a full regulation match, but Catlaugh put Orglis down 7, or not Orglis, but SYR down 7-0. And then now Outlast down 7-1. So Outlast, unfortunately, they were able to push up and take on Catlaugh, but it's not going to be enough for them, and Catlaugh will qualify.
You just let sad girl Tara into CCL. What the heck?
You know what? It seems like
you let Seb into CCL. That guy's a manager. What are you doing, Canada?
You know what? Let Canada do Canada. All right. So look, Jazz. We don't have much. Jazz. We don't have much place to judge. Let's be real.
That's true. That is a good point. We let.
Hold on a second. What's going on there? I'm guessing that's a crawl hole, because it looked like there was just a body stuck in the wall there. I think Barry, it looked like Barry was just phasing through the wall there for a second, but. Looks like once again they're going this kitchen setup, which I believe the only time SYR has found success was that one round where Swifted just decided to swing on him with the 6P. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure, actually. I'm really not sure. Also, another thing to keep in mind, they've taken back control. With a minute loaf, a speed run, if you will. They've gotten themselves into VIP, into dining, all the way over into Coat. And who is there to contest it? Absolutely no one. The one round that Fork should maybe consider an aggressive roam, their two players are upstairs, and they're not collapsing on anything. Now, granted, with 5 players on that back site, it might be a little difficult to collapse, but SYR are going to take full advantage. They're going to open up Freeze wall and move their way over. Nate goes over into Bunk. It'll take Manson down just a little bit, but that's about it. SYR establishing a lot of control pretty early on.
One of the big things that I'm looking for on the side of SYR here is if they're able to... Never mind. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence, because if they're able to, is it gonna happen? Because it's just gonna be a flawless round for Fork in the seconds that it takes me to try and gather my thoughts. What just happened? Huh?
I literally looked away from my screen just so I could remember something about a specific operator, and I looked at the Twitch chat. And 3 players dropped dead. One of them to a smoke, and then the flawless round, big gold letters just shined in front of my screen. What was that?
In the span of the seconds it took me to process it, the round was over. Like,
SYR, we talked about how their fundamentals were just looking astronomically better. They had such a good push going. Maybe they could have opened freezer hatch. Maybe they could have gotten a sledge upstairs. Well, they didn't even have it. Maybe they could have got breach charges upstairs. Because I'm sure, I pray that Adam was bringing breach charges instead of Claymore. And then they just took a bunch of 1v1s. For no good reason. They pushed right into the utility there of Fork. I get that you have that much control, but you don't have to use it all at once. Bait out the utility. Bait out an aggressive peak. You know that Fork liked to get aggressive. So much just went wrong there, but at the same time, Fork just played that to a T. They play that like they normally do. Swing something, and if it works, push that knife deeper. Let that pressure grow into something even worse. That's exactly what happened. SYR are now... what should have been in an advantage are now in a tie.
Yeah, they absolutely should have had an advantage going into this half, but unfortunately, I mean, they absolutely fumbled the bag on that one. Absolutely 100%. I mean, the roamers were in no position to collapse. I mean, they were just kind of meandering about mining and train. I mean, there were a lot of things that were going right in the way of SYR. They had solid downstairs control. I mean, there were a lot of things that were going their way, and I mean, they decided to all just push through freezer, I guess. There were a lot of things that could have gone a lot better, and I mean,
That's what we call a funnel strategy.
I'm not ready to fully rescind
Only experts
my. I'm not ready to fully rescind my my praises of SYR because they still have shown improvement, and I don't think that one, albeit terrible, strategy is grounds for completely and totally discounting them. They're still there is obviously still more they have to work on, and a lot they need to try and do during this defensive half if they want to come away with this and not end up in either overtime or just losing it. Swifted is going to be the first one to take a man though, and Man Sitten comes back and takes Swifted. Barry takes down Adam as well, putting that a 4v3 in the favor of Fork. Man Sitten taking sprays into Bathroom Gods, frags back onto Tabyface, however. Man Sitten making the aggressive push here is able to take down Naj. Barry takes down Gods. It's now a 1v3. C4 comes out. HPR not able to connect with anything. He runs up with a shotgun. Man Sitten pulls out the pistol. And that's that.
A lot just happened there, but it kind of just sums up into the fact that SYR were caught off guard. And I think that showed a lot because they weren't able to establish crossfires or anything. There was nothing stopping Fork from just literally crouch walking in the site. We say crouch walking a lot as kind of just a generalization of what happens whenever you walk into the site or just walk into a room.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally crouch walking. Yeah. I saw Ace get down on his knees and start shifting his little legs over towards Longbar, and I just knew that if he wasn't dead within the next 5 seconds, the round was over. And that's what happened.
Yep.
I'm really not sure why that was just not held by SYR. They probably could have just locked down at least a guard door. But unfortunately that didn't happen, and they were punished for it.
I think if SYR are able to... SYR are inconsistent in their responses to aggression. There are times when they do it perfectly. There are absolutely times, I mean, we've seen it multiple times, where they're able to very quickly shut down aggressive pushes, shut down roams. I mean, there were plenty of times where their ability was able to shine through, but they're just inconsistent right now. And I think that seems to that's showing itself to be its biggest pitfall. It's not necessarily that they don't know what to do; they just aren't able to do it all the time.
Yeah,
and I think right now that is what is really holding them back. And I think if they're able to really dial themselves in, really figure out how what makes Fork tick, then I think that we'll start seeing them win rounds, potentially come forward. But right now, I'm not seeing anything that's indicating it's going that way.
Yeah, you talked about the inconsistency a little bit, and that comes with time, obviously, just working it out. But it really is starting to show itself a little bit. It's rearing its ugly head, and I think that what SYR could just do a little bit differently. Again, it's the same thing that we have on attack, and it's so easy to fix on defense. Work together. You're a team. Let the harmony sing as a choir, not as a single duet.
Not a solo act.
Not a solo act either. Because right now, it's just been swifted. Danny Spicy has sprinted. Literally sprinted into freeze, and he is rightfully punished for it, but not before Gods goes down. Loaf.
And that's your smoke
That's
as
your
well.
smoke. Thank you. We literally are mind readers.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's a huge piece of utility that was deep in sight that Danny just said, I'm Ash. I'll run in. Maybe I'll get a kill. I don't have much utility beyond that. And it worked. It just worked. I mean, and you took out a solid chunk of utility as well because Danny was betting on the fact that, hey, they're probably going to keep their smoke, their maestro, someone important deep in sight. I'm going to run in. I'm going to at least get one kill. Maybe I'll get two. You know what? I'll be happy with just one. And it worked out perfectly for them. I mean, yes, sitting at an even 4-4, but arguably, I'd say Fork is in the advantage right now, having only lost an Ash, whereas SYR has lost a smoke. We'll see now Swifted from down below. That C4 could be big, and it is! Man Sitting and Barry will go down, bringing it now a 4v2 very squarely in the advantage of SYR. That whole big spiel I went about, which operator's gone. Doesn't matter. It's a 4v2. We have seen them come back from this. Big Art especially has been showing up a little bit more in this game. So we'll see if potentially the duo of Tabyface and Big Art will be able to come back from this. But lots of bodies on the side of SYR here, and it doesn't seem like Fork has a ton of control. See now, Big Art is just going to go ahead and crouch walk in. It will net nothing, though, as Adam is able to get that kill. It is now all up to Tabyface, able to take down Adam in a quick trade here. 3v1, though, hopping over the shield. It's not enough. Swifted with a triple on the round. SYR come out with now a 4-4. They're just going 1-for-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, SYR just kind of locked it down. I think they played fundamentally correct. They actually managed to get a trade, and they didn't let that rush there from Danny Spicy turn into anything too detrimental. And, well, they basically fixed up their mistakes from last round. I think we talked about it a little bit, just holding crossfires and being confident in your teammates' map control. That's what happened. SYR just kind of knew that they had piano. They had bathroom at some point, but they had piano. They had the cocktail swing. And they had someone pallets. So all was good. They had their control. They had their crossfires. And Fork were trying to contest it as if they had an opening when it was really just them running into a brick wall strategically. So now 4-4. Loaf, we've been getting some pretty close games here. SYR and Fork both won it so badly as we go in to what I believe is our first ever reading dining hold for this entire qual. And I'm interested to see how SYR will adapt, especially because, Loaf, this is a site where map control is everything.
I think it looks like right now they're going to be investing at least a solid chunk of resources up in this top floor here. I don't know how many bodies specifically they're going to dedicate to it, but I think that's something. Once again, I kind of talked about balance early on with SYR. That's another thing you kind of have to find balance with. Do you focus heavily on top floor? Do you kind of play it a little bit safe? Put 3 people downstairs, 2 people upstairs? Do you play it even more conservatively, just reinforce everything and only leave one person roaming? It's really just kind of up to how the team wants to play. It looks like they're going with a couple of roamers here. And
wow. There's one roamer. Swifted, he's got 13 to his name. Big Man Barry absolutely shuts it down. That's the second.
Big Man Barry!
That should not have turned into anything. Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm speechless after the fact that Barry was prone, looking at one corner of the door, and Swifted just walks into his crosshairs. I'm sorry. That just baffles me.
Attackers located a bomb.
I'm speechless. Like, I'm speechless. And just like that, we were like, we'll see how they approach aggression. And it's just like, no, they're just gonna walk into it. Tabyface with the big 2 right there, taking down Big Art as well, as I believe it was Adam 21. And now it's just all up to HPR. who hasn't put down all of his mute jammers? I'm sorry. 2 mute jammers and a C4 in the back pocket.
What? Dude,
Your brain was broken by last match. I think it's mine this match.
I feel it fold. Like all my internal organs are folding into pretzels. Like this is horrible. I don't know what's going on. But to make sense of the chaos, it really just seemed like SYR were just running around. And obviously the 2 kills at the beginning that should not have happened.
Absolutely not.
Happened. And then they converted that into not only just 2 kills, but getting rid of the white shield. And Fork wasted no time getting in. That right there is proper aggression. Take control of what you already have. Assert yourself. While also not getting yourself killed. They did that properly. And there's no other way to really put that. Unfortunately, SYR just put themselves out there too much. And we talked about how important map control was. They lost it pretty early on.
Mm-hmm. I think part of that as well was simply stuck in the fact that Barry just did Barry things and just happened to have someone walk into his crosshairs. Mind you as well, the top frag of SYR walk into his crosshairs and then get a spray through a window upside down on rappel.
10 seconds remaining.
So
Loaf,
I'm just again
riddle me this.
5 seconds left.
all right.
If your name, or sorry, if you, oh wait, what is it? Hold on. Give me a
Attackers
second.
are heading out to defuse a bomb.
All right. While you're thinking
Wait.
of that, just
Oh, wait.
okay.
It's from the movie. I just can't.
You can do it, Jazz. I believe.
I
in
don't
you.
remember. My memory is so shoddy. But riddle me this: if there is a player, Daddy Spicy's in dining, and he's dead. Anyway,
Yep.
riddle me this:
All right.
if you have a player that just got killed from a rappel, do you A, keep yourself away from that area, or B, stay? It doesn't
guess
matter
that
what your answer is, because Barry found out that one of those players went for the latter, went for answer B. And you know what happened, Loaf? They were rewarded swiftly with a 150 to the face.
Bomb located by attackers.
Honestly though, I will say I think that may have just been a misguided attempt at SYR to try and counter that aggression by staying there to wait for, potentially the swing in. It's not out of the realm of expectation for Barry to then just rappel in after that kill. Like that absolutely seems 100% like something Fork would do. So I don't want to completely and totally ding SYR for that, because I think it's just a failed attempt at countering aggression. But there is Swifted there, able to put that top frag status to use there, taking down Big Art. Is now a 5v3 in favor of SYR here, as Man Sitten and Barry able to get some kills there, as HPR finally takes back Man Sitten. Tabyface takes down HPR. Gods takes down 2 with the drop in from Dining. A well-timed late rotate there goes ahead and puts SYR back at even standing.
This game has definitely gotten to the point where it has just become a team deathmatch, where it's just whoever manages to get their frags gets their frags. And I really think there's no other way to put it at this point, Loaf. Like, we're trying to sugarcoat this and analyze it for what it is. It's just a war out there. Cafe Dostoevsky has literally become a team deathmatch map from Call of Duty. And unfortunately, at the moment, no one can seem to find a ground above. Everyone right now is currently on equal footing. Nobody is able to continue their victories. It all seems like one team wins a round, and then all of a sudden the next team just makes a horrid mistake in the next round to cost them a round. It's just been back and forth like that. Some plays work and some plays don't. And that's about it.
My biggest thing here with this top floor hold is Fork loves to get aggressive on the site. They have shown time and time again, and SYR has had varying degrees of success with countering that aggression on the site. The last time they were here, they were able to successfully curb that aggression from Fork, so we'll see if that trend continues. If they do potentially put themselves in a good position where they can go. I believe after this, they'll have to go mining dining or reading dining, and they have had success on neither of those sites. So if SYR is able to pull out another round win here, I think we go to overtime. I think, however, if Fork wins, it's up in the air. I think it could either go overtime or Fork could take this away. I think this round right here will go one way. It will show how the rest of the match is going to play out. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
especially because both of these teams have just been so back and forth. I feel like if you take that advantage on that,
he can't keep getting away with this. I'm sorry, he can't. The window was already open. They did it for him. He didn't even have to open it.
I physically just I feel like my brain just vomited. But Naj is killed, and Swifted is acting very aggressively. Now Swifted, as far as this game's logic has gone so far, can either get a two-piece or just get destroyed. Art's gonna drop in here, not knowing that there's a player in red. They haven't drawn this out whatsoever, and Gods is gonna slam down Barry. It's gonna be a 4 versus 4 now. Case in the hands now of the attackers.
Swifted
look
is
at
playing
how
the
many
long
players.
game.
Look at how many people are here. Gods can just hold this with Swifted because nobody is on the window. There should be a player there. Why are there 3 people in red? But Art gets his refrag. 3 versus 2. Gods. Now the only person left to hold down this piano area. Impact thrown out. Don't know why, but it was thrown. And now Gods almost surrendering his life there. Gonna swing onto the player here inside of the bar. But here's the thing. He's stalling for time right now. 57 seconds left. 2 C4s on the side of SYR. A lot to work with as long as you can waste time.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing here for Fork is they have to try and clear out some of these defenders on site. I don't think right now you do want to at least continue to be aware of that roam sitting there from, I believe that's God sitting over in bathroom. But right now, I think your biggest concern was getting rid of either HPR or Adam 21, and so far it looks like that is not the case. Man Sitting has taken a huge chunk of damage. Big Art will fall to HPR. Man Sitting does refrag it, but now it is a 1v2 situation with a roamer sitting in Pixel, and that's all they need. SYR takes round number 11, and here's the big thing. They either have to win now on reading and dining, or take a chance on mining dining. And I don't think they take a chance on mining dining. I think they go reading dining. Yep, that's exactly what they're gonna do. They were not successful the last time they went here at all. And unless they make a big change in how they play this, I don't know. I think a lot of it was off of the back of Barry getting 2 free kills, essentially. Swifted walking into his crosshairs and then just to spray off with the rappel. But they were just dazed and confused after that, and it didn't seem like they could find their footing. So this is the critical round for SYR to either, essentially make or break their reputation going forward. Are they a team that can adapt and come back even after losing, or are they just a team once they don't have a site, they don't have a site, period?
Yeah, and we saw what happened last time, right? The top floor was just cleared, like wiped.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
You just have to understand that Fork, they funnel a lot. If they have one thing open, there's a very, very high percentage that's the only thing that they're pushing. Mm-hmm. So just be prepared. Be prepared to have a storm thrown at you from one certain angle and adapt around it. Trap Fork into a position where they're going to be punished for the fact that they only push one-dimensionally. SYR haven't been doing that. They've been gifting 4 kills a lot of the time. And that map control that's so important, it's cleared within seconds. Mere seconds. All because they let one player slip through the cracks. That cannot be happening. That is way, way too much. It shows that Fork are very reliant on 1v1s. If you don't give them that, if you give them that, then you lose map control and you just lose the round altogether. Especially because if you look at the way that this is set up, SYR simply do not have a lot of players up top. It was only Gods last time that I saw just playing the White Shield. They have no one inside of Cocktail. I believe Swifted has moved up though.
And I think as well, it looks like Gods has rotated off and moved to Pixel now. So there is no one holding White Shield, it seems, and there's only the one in Pixel. So it looks like we've got the Wamai here taking down the control in 90. Spray there from Big Art, going to put a lot of damage there onto Adam. And I think he's going to go ahead and retreat back to the site there. Pressure coming out from Art. Nade to try and flush that Legion out. Will not be successful, but he will still be able to get the kill. The spray there onto Adam as well. A double kill for Big Art. 5v3 in favor of Fork.
All of this just from dining and train control. They don't even have top 4 at the moment. It looks like they're going to walk into dining, but Art is taken down. I'm not sure if they understand that or not. The intel might not be there, but look at this. Fork have established themselves top 4. There's an ADS right in front of you.
Oh, Tabby.
3 versus 3.
Tabby.
And Swifted and Gods will each claim their kill. The down is confirmed, and Case is inside a train. No matter what, if you're Fork, it doesn't matter what control you have to get that diffuser. Minute remaining now. And SYR, they understand that. Gods is on to Barry. This is turning around here for the defenders.
They held this in a very good way. And I think as well, I mean, as you mentioned, Fork rely very, very heavily on that funnel strategy, simply just overwhelming them. They didn't put a lot of investment into that top floor early on. They focused very heavily on train and mining, and that was their downfall. The top floor was completely open for a very long time, and with no pressure put there, they were allowed to rotate around, and they had trades back and forth. And now it's all up to Man Sitten, the newcomer who has come out on top as well, might I add. 11-6 on this match here. He's in a 1v2. It is entirely possible for him to come away from this, but with how SYR have shown, they've got good control. He at the very least has Case now. But with 15 seconds left, there's not a whole lot Man Sitten can do except plant and hope that there's no one there to counter him. But HBR is there. And SYR, from what looked like early on, they had no response for Fork. It just seemed like a war of attrition, have come back and shown that they can put up a fight. And they will be our final team today to qualify for CCL.
It was an aggressive game. It was a confusing game, but we have confirmed our final team into CCL. I was shocked by a few of these results. Fork weren't able to come up with it. Their shortcomings from the last map unfortunately translated into this one. But it's a chance to get better. So
Absolutely.
it's okay. Congratulations to SYR for making it into the league, as well as Catlaf, Quadratics, to the shock of many, and Agony Esports. Big round of applause to all of you, making it to the only R6 Canadian League out there in quite the fashion, I will say. We casted a lot of really weird games. I'd definitely say the more the nights went on, they got more cursed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we went to overtime once. We went to full regulation for every single one of our matches, which actually can't be said for pretty much most of the other matches in this qualifier. There were a lot 7-0s, 7-1s. There were a lot of games that didn't make it past,